Hey guys, it's Rich with your Thursday spot in the Pagan Perspectives. It is actually Sunday morning at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and the moon is at 100% of full. I am pretty energetic for 2 a.m., so I figured I'd make a video and make it early so you guys don't have to wait on Thursday. We have two questions this week, and they are kind of in-depth. And I'm going to try to conquer these both fairly quickly. If not, it's going to be a long video. You know, sit down, have a nice little cup of tea or something like that, and strap yourself in for a good long video. Corey, you're going to hate me whenever you end up coming back from your trip and seeing this, because I do believe it will be a long video. So, here we go. The Kawaii Kitty, I hope I pronounced that correctly, writes, if you are married and each have a different belief or a different religion, and you want to raise a family, which belief systems do you teach them? When do you celebrate holidays? I think you should teach them both, but my husband thinks this would be confusing to them. Or for them. Any thoughts? Well, I actually think religion's up to a certain age for children, and I don't have children, I don't have a partner, I don't have a spouse, I'm not married, not even dating anybody. Annie, whenever you watch this, you can attest to how horrible my dating streak is right now, because you and I have talked offline. But yes, I'm not dating anybody right now, so children aren't even in my purview. But for the advice that I can give as somebody that doesn't have children, but was a child once himself, but didn't have parents of two different religions. I had parents that really didn't celebrate religious activities at all. So the most I can tell you is, for children, the age of actually knowing what holiday you're celebrating and why you're celebrating it, unless you're a very active child in religious activities, or you're like going to church and let's say you're Catholic and you're going to what is it, catechism, I believe it is. I'm not Catholic, so if I got that wrong, I'm sorry. But yeah, whenever you go to your classes and everything when you're little, Catholics, they start their children off young. You start to learn about different holidays and stuff like that. So if you're sending your kid off to their little religious prep school type thing, then yeah, they're going to learn about different holidays and within the Abrahamic religions. So that's already been taken care of. What isn't covered, however, is the pagan aspect. And in order to do that, if you celebrate all the holidays, which I think is a great idea, if you're celebrating Yule and then you're celebrating Christmas, it's just like if a family is celebrating, Hanukkah and Christmas. It's the same thing. You celebrate the different aspects, or you celebrate one, and then you say why you're celebrating this holiday, and then a couple days later you have this holiday, and you say why you're celebrating that. You make the distinction that, yes, this is on your father's side of the family, this is why we're celebrating it, this is what it means to him, and in his religion, this is what it means to him. This is part of my religion, so this is how we celebrate it, and this is why we celebrate it. So that is the thoughts that I have. Like I said, for the normal person, the thought of religious activities connected to your holidays that you get a day off of school for usually isn't even in your purview until probably about high school. And around that time, your mental faculties, not that little children aren't smart, some little children are just, they're freaking brilliant out there, and they can figure all this out at a young age. But a lot of kids, they don't even think of what the holiday means except for they're getting gifts until you get to about a high school age and you start figuring out where your place is in this life and where you fit in. So that's my first question here that I have. And the second question that I have, do you have any ideas on how, well, this comes from Anna 871440. And they write, do you have any ideas on how to get your partner to accept your religion? My husband was raised Catholic, but does not currently practice. I have tried to explain my beliefs to him, but he thinks that anything pagan is evil. Do you have any advice? Excuse me. This was a very easy question for me to answer. And I actually thought about on Friday night. Yeah, whenever I came home from work, I saw that topic and I said, I have a really good explanation for this. Especially melding the two, like the Christian side of me and the pagan side of me, melding those two together. It's really easy for me to answer this one. The way that you get those people to accept it, or to accept your religion, or to see that you are not evil, there's many ways. One, you can just sit down and talk with them and tell them, you can explain it to them in a more simplified way. I mean, maybe going into the fact that each each elemental representation, isn't exactly the best way to approach the situation. First, you sit them down. You say, okay, for one, you believe everything that's pagan is evil. Do you believe I'm evil? Obviously, his answer should be no. I mean, after all, he married you. So, if he says no, which any good husband should, and if he's watching this, he should. If he says no, then you say, well, then that means that already everything that's pagan cannot be evil. 2, the incense that we use, one of them, one of the most used incense in the world, and thank you to Annie for pointing out that it's endangered, is frankincense. And that's been used by Christians and pagans for thousands of years. So, we both use incense. We both use it as a cleansing aspect, as a way to honor our deity. Okay? Let's just go around the altar, or around the elements there. Fire, you can't really explain that one much more. It's the passion, it's the burning passion, much like the passion that people have for their religion and Christianity. That it's the fire that burns within you, that little light of yours that you're going to let shine. That's what it is. That's the fire, the element of fire. Moving around, we go to water. Some people use water to consecrate themselves. Some pagans even use holy water that has been blessed by the Catholic Church. I have holy water that's been blessed by the Catholic Church. Do I use it on a regular basis? No. Do I make my own holy water that I bless myself? Absolutely. So we both use water in our practice of religion. That brings me to another point. Whenever you enter your circle, a lot of people take ritual baths. They dress in their nicest attire, their nicest ritual garb to go into their circle. And they consecrate themselves with oil. And Catholics do this too. Matter of fact, it's been said that churches are a meeting place to compare wearing attire. You know, people go, they get cleaned up after a long weekend, they get cleaned up, they get into their best suit, and they go to church, and then they anoint themselves with holy water. So you're already following some of the things that pagans do in their practice. Whenever they enter circle, you stand right before you enter the circle. You anoint yourself with oil, or you prepare yourself in a ritual bath with oils, or with herbal tinctures, or something of that nature. So you're doing a lot that is similar already. Earth representation. A lot of people use salt to represent earth. And whenever a lot of Christians, whenever they refer to people, or people that are of a good nature, they refer to them as salt of the earth. Okay, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but you know what? I got 3 out of 4. Come on now. We both also invoke our deity in our practice. Catholics invoke God with a prayer at the beginning of Mass. Excuse me. And pagans invoke their deity through a form of prayer, a chant, a certain, a little couplet, or some sort of ritual words, or gestures that they normally use, and it varies from person to person. So that's similar. It's our form of prayer. Let's see what else. We both pray to beings other than our own deity. Many Catholics will pray to Mary. They will pray to saints to ask them to watch over them. Many pagans also will pray to saints or angels, and use them as guides, or a guardian angel. Many Catholics say that they have a guardian angel. And so the idea of angels it's not a far stretch for any Catholic to see that angels can span more than one religion. Oh, excuse me. So, whenever you sit down with your husband, you just draw out, everything that the Catholics do, and everything that pagans do, and you just sit there and you say, look at all the similarities, we're not that different. Look back in history, whenever, people were getting rid of segregation and everything, and they said, look at the similarities, it's only skin deep. That's it. The differences in Catholicism and paganism, it's only skin deep. The only few differences that we have is that we worship a more nature-based, or we are more of a nature-based religion than the Catholics. And and we have a goddess, which a lot of people say that Mary, Mother of Christ, can be considered Catholic goddess. It can be considered a Catholic goddess. So, there's so many similarities, and Catholics kind of, use Mary as a goddess and probably don't even realize it sometimes. So, explain those similarities to him and see what he has to say. I'm really interested in seeing what comes of it, and I hope this has been helpful for you. Until next time, may your ancestors be with you. Bye-bye.